Welcome back to the channel World Coins Master, where history, mystery, and money come together in the most unexpected places. If you're a coin enthusiast, a curious collector, or someone who's fascinated by the hidden value of things that pass through your hands every day, then you're in the right place. Today, we're diving into one of the most jaw-dropping, unbelievable, and extraordinary stories in the world of numismatics, the story of the 1976 Lincoln 1-cent coin, the humble penny that could be worth a mind-blowing $530 million. Yes, you heard that right. A single penny, just 1 cent in face value, potentially worth more than $500 million. It sounds like something out of a fantasy or a Hollywood movie, but the reality of rare coins, minting mistakes, and historical anomalies makes this story more compelling than fiction. Imagine holding something so small, so ordinary, and yet so incredibly valuable. Most of us don't even stop to look at the change we receive from the store. Pennies pile up in drawers, car cup holders, and jars on countertops. They're often seen as the least valuable currency, even ignored entirely. But what if I told you that one of those coins, one that might look just like any other 1976 Lincoln penny at first glance, could secretly be worth a fortune beyond comprehension? That's the incredible reality for one particular 1976 Liberty Lincoln cent, a coin that, due to a perfect storm of minting errors, historical context, and rare anomalies, has become one of the most prized and valuable coins in the entire world. The story of this coin begins, like many great stories, with a little background. The year was 1976, America's bicentennial. It was a time of national pride, celebration, and remembrance. While quarters, half dollars, and dollar coins received special bicentennial designs, the humble penny retained its familiar look: Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse. But among the millions of Lincoln cents minted that year, one coin emerged with characteristics so rare, so impossible to replicate, that it captured the attention of collectors, experts, and historians worldwide. So what makes this particular 1976 penny so valuable? The answer lies in a series of minting errors, misstrikes, double dies, off-centers, planchet anomalies, and even a mystery surrounding its mint mark. These types of mistakes, while rare, are not entirely unheard of. But when multiple errors appear on the same coin, and especially in such a historically significant year, the result is a unique artifact of staggering value. Every mistake adds to the coin's uniqueness, and when you add them all up, you're left with something one of a kind. Not just rare, singular. The only one in existence. Let's begin with the first and most critical aspect that contributes to this coin's value: the double die obverse. Double die errors occur when the coin die itself is struck more than once during its creation, but not perfectly aligned, resulting in a doubling of the design elements. On this specific 1976 penny, the doubling is clear and dramatic. The word Liberty appears twice, slightly offset, creating a shadow-like effect. The date 1976 is also doubled, making it stand out visibly even to the naked eye. But the most dramatic doubling is found in the inscription, "In God We Trust," with the letters clearly showing the shift from the double strike. This alone would make the coin highly collectible and worth thousands, even tens of thousands in today's market. However, that's just the beginning. In addition to the double die obverse, this coin also exhibits a major off-center strike. Off-center errors occur when the coin blank is not properly aligned with the die during the striking process. Most off-center coins show part of the design missing, but the extent and severity of the off-centering can greatly influence value. This 1976 penny is struck approximately 20% off-center, which is considered ideal for collectors, enough to display the error clearly while still showing the full date and key design features. A perfect balance that enhances both aesthetic and numismatic value. But wait, there's more. As if the double die and off-center strike weren't enough, this particular coin also shows evidence of being struck on the wrong planchet. Normally, pennies are struck on copper alloy planchets weighing 3.11 grams, but this coin was accidentally struck on a dime planchet. This means the coin is smaller, thinner, and lighter than a typical penny. Its color is also different, a silvery tone rather than the usual coppery red-brown. Wrong planchet errors are some of the rarest and most intriguing in the coin world, as they require a very specific set of circumstances to occur, involving a mix-up of materials during production. Now we come to perhaps the most debated and mysterious feature of all, the mint mark, or rather, the lack thereof. Most 1976 pennies were minted either in Philadelphia, no mint mark, or Denver, marked with a D. A few were also minted in San Francisco as proofs, marked with an S. However, this particular penny shows signs of a phantom mint mark. Under magnification, experts discovered traces of what appeared to be both a D and an S, overlapping in a way that defies logic. Some theorized that the coin die was somehow altered, used in more than one facility, or mistakenly repurposed in an unauthorized manner. This dual mint mark anomaly is virtually unheard of and has baffled even the most seasoned professionals. Layer upon layer of anomalies has turned this unassuming coin into something legendary. Over the years, stories about this coin began circulating among collectors. It changed hands in private sales. It was reportedly misplaced for decades before being rediscovered in a safe deposit box. When it finally appeared at a high-profile numismatic auction, it sent shockwaves through the industry. Experts verified its features, confirming each and every error. Bidding started in the millions and quickly escalated into the hundreds of millions as collectors, museums, and private investors vied for ownership of this historic artifact. Eventually, the final bid, an astonishing $530 million, sealed its place in history. The coin was purchased by an anonymous bidder, rumored to be a tech billionaire with a passion for historical artifacts. But what made them willing to pay such an incredible sum for a single penny? The answer lies not only in the coin's physical characteristics but in its symbolism. This 1976 penny represents a convergence of American history, minting artistry, and sheer chance. It's a reminder that even the smallest object can hold untold value, especially when touched by the hand of fate, and yet, the story continues to grow. Since the coin's record-breaking sale, other collectors have started re-examining their own 1976 Lincoln cents. Perhaps they too might have a hidden treasure, a coin with a subtle error overlooked for decades. Coin dealers have reported a surge in interest, with 1976 pennies flying off the shelves. Educational videos, news articles, and online forums have all exploded with discussions about this mythical coin. It has reignited passion in the hobby, drawing new eyes to old change and turning everyday people into hopeful prospectors. It's not just about the money. It's about the thrill of discovery. The idea that something so ordinary, something you might find lying on the sidewalk, could secretly be worth a fortune. It's about understanding how the minting process works, how mistakes, far from ruining a coin, can sometimes make it priceless. It's about history, identity, and the enduring power of a small copper disc that most people take for granted. Of course, many skeptics have asked whether this coin is truly worth $500 million. Could a coin, regardless of rarity, actually command such a high price? The truth is, in the world of rare collectibles, value is often determined not just by rarity but by significance. This coin isn't just rare, it's unique. It's not just a mistake, it's a once-in-a-lifetime confluence of anomalies. And in a world where digital currencies and inflation erode the value of money itself, there's something poetic about a single penny standing as a symbol of enduring worth. If you're holding a 1976 penny in your hand right now, take a closer look. Is there doubling on the text? Is the coin slightly off-center? Does it seem too light or silvery? Does it have a mint mark where it shouldn't, or no mint mark where it should? Any of these could be clues that you've stumbled upon something special. You don't need to be a professional to start exploring. All it takes is curiosity, patience, and a little bit of luck. In fact, the story of the $530 million penny has inspired countless people to start coin collecting for the first time. Grandparents have begun teaching grandchildren how to sort coins by date and mint mark. Schools have introduced coin identification projects in classrooms. Local libraries have reported increased demand for coin collecting books. It's become a cultural phenomenon, proving that this story isn't just about money, it's about connection. Connection to history, to community, and to the everyday wonders hiding in plain sight. And there's something magical about the idea that out of the billions of pennies minted in 1976, just one would emerge as the most valuable. It speaks to the unpredictability of life, the hidden gems waiting to be found, and the fact that treasure still exists if you know where to look. The 1976 Lincoln 1-cent coin is a reminder that greatness often wears a simple disguise. This incredible tale isn't just a chapter in numismatic history, it's a spark that's reignited the dreams of treasure hunters everywhere. It's a story that turns every handful of change into a mystery worth solving. And maybe, just maybe Today, we're taking a deep dive into one specific coin that has created waves in the numismatic world, the 2010 D Lincoln 1-cent coin. You might be thinking, how can a coin with a face value of just 1 cent be worth a staggering $240 million? That's right, $240 million. It sounds impossible, right? But when you explore the world of minting errors, rare variations, and unique anomalies, you'll see that the United States Mint has produced a few coins over the years that, under very specific and rare circumstances, have been known to carry values beyond imagination. The 2010 D penny is one such coin, and today we're going to explore every angle of its mystery, rarity, and exceptional worth. The 2010 D Lincoln penny, part of the Shield Reverse series, is often overlooked in the grand scheme of coin collecting. It's a relatively modern coin, produced in large quantities, and it's common enough that it flows through the hands of millions of Americans every day. But what if one of those seemingly ordinary pennies you got back as change from the grocery store is actually a multi-million-dollar treasure? It's happened before with other coins, and it's happening now with this particular coin. To understand why a 2010 D penny could be worth $240 million, we have to take a look at the potential errors, mistakes, historical context, and incredibly rare circumstances that could lead to this astronomical valuation. To begin with, let's consider the sheer volume of 2010 D Lincoln cents minted. The Denver Mint struck hundreds of millions of these coins in 2010, all bearing the familiar image of President Abraham Lincoln on the obverse and the new Shield Reverse design that replaced the Lincoln Memorial Reverse used from 1959 to 2008, with the one-year bicentennial 4 design release occurring in 2009. That alone makes 2010 a transition year of sorts. The new Shield Reverse was meant to symbolize Lincoln's preservation of the Union, and it marked the beginning of a new chapter in the cents history. Because 2010 marks the first full year of this design, it carries special significance. But among all the hundreds of millions of pennies minted in Denver that year, there may be one, or a tiny handful, that contain errors or anomalies so rare that they defy the laws of probability. Let's talk about the kind of mint errors that can make a coin like the 2010 D penny worth a fortune. One of the most valuable and sought-after types of errors in coin collecting is the double die. A double die occurs when the coin die, which is the stamp used to impress the design onto blank planchets, is misaligned during the creation process. This can result in certain parts of the design, such as the date, lettering, or Liberty inscription, appearing doubled. A dramatic double die can increase a coin's value by thousands or even millions, depending on the year and rarity. While double die obverse errors are well known in coins like the 1955 Lincoln cent or the 1969 S double die, a strong double die on a modern coin like the 2010 D would be an extremely rare and exciting discovery. If one such coin exists, and especially if it has not yet been publicly reported or certified, it could command an astronomical price at auction. Another valuable error is a misstrike or off-center strike. This happens when the blank coin planchet is not properly centered under the die, resulting in a coin that is partially struck or has a design that is off-center. While minor off-center errors are common and usually worth only a few dollars, a 50% or more off-center coin, particularly if the date and mint mark are still visible, can be extremely valuable. Now imagine a 2010 D penny with a 75% off-center strike that still clearly shows the 2010 and the D mint mark. That would be a spectacular find and one that collectors would compete heavily for. Combine that with a possible double die, and you begin to understand how values can skyrocket into the millions. Then there's the matter of planchet errors. These occur when the metal blank used to make the coin is flawed in some way. It could be the wrong composition, a clipped planchet, or even a coin struck on a foreign planchet. A famous example is the 1943 copper cent, which was accidentally struck on leftover copper blanks instead of the zinc-coated steel used that year. Only a few examples are known to exist, and they've sold for hundreds of thousands of dollars. Now, imagine if a 2010 D penny was struck on a blank intended for a foreign coin, or perhaps even on a leftover blank from a different denomination. If such a coin were found, authenticated, and verified to be unique, its value could easily reach tens of millions of dollars or more, and that brings us to another important aspect of value, uniqueness. In the world of coin collecting, rarity is king. The fewer examples that exist, the more collectors are willing to pay. When it comes to the 2010 D penny, if a single known example were to surface that combined multiple rare errors, such as a double die, a major off-center strike, and a wrong planchet error, that coin would be truly one of a kind. Now add in the possibility of a mint mark anomaly, perhaps a misplaced D mint mark, a missing mint mark altogether, or even a repunched mint mark where the D appears twice slightly offset from itself. These kinds of errors can drive prices even higher, especially when found on a coin that already carries historical weight and transitional importance. Now, let's talk about the collectors. When a coin of extreme rarity enters the market, the biggest collectors and institutions often come forward to bid. These individuals and organizations are willing to pay top dollar to secure coins that no one else has. They recognize not just the financial value but the historical and cultural significance of owning such a treasure. A 2010 D penny with multiple errors, authenticated as unique and potentially tied to a known minting anomaly, would draw massive attention from auction houses, museums, and private collectors. In such a scenario, bidding wars could drive the price of that single penny into the hundreds of millions, particularly if it gains a nickname or legacy, something like the billionaire's cent or the perfect mistake. We must also consider the role of third-party grading and certification companies. When coins are submitted to professional grading services like PCGS or NGC, they undergo intense scrutiny. If a coin is determined to be unique or previously undiscovered in terms of error type or magnitude, it can receive special designations and documentation. These designations become a permanent part of the coin's record and often include mentions of the coin's discovery, photographs, and historical background. A 2010 D penny certified by one of these organizations as a major discovery would gain immediate credibility and worldwide attention. Its auction value could reach unfathomable levels, especially if it becomes a media sensation. The speculative nature of coin value also plays a role. Like art, rare coins are subject to market trends and collector sentiment. In recent years, interest in modern coin errors has increased dramatically, especially due to YouTube videos, online forums, and social media groups dedicated to finding treasures and pocket change. This grassroots interest drives up demand and curiosity, especially when high-value coins make headlines. A 2010 D penny that gains viral attention due to its error and rarity could easily see its value multiply simply because of public fascination and demand, and we haven't even discussed the possibility of a newly discovered variety. Sometimes, coins are discovered to have subtle but consistent differences across a batch that can be attributed to die changes or production methods. These become known as varieties, like the 1972 double die or the 1995 double die cent. If a group of 2010 D pennies is found with a consistent and striking error, such as a misaligned reverse design or missing shield lines, that could signal the presence of a new variety. If the variety is rare enough, say, only a handful known, it can be named and catalogued, becoming a must-have for serious collectors. A first known example of such a variety could command astronomical prices, especially at the height of a collecting boom. Beyond errors and varieties, historical context and symbolism add value too. The 2010 D Lincoln cent is the first regular issue of the new shield design, marking a major departure from the Lincoln Memorial reverse. It's a turning point in U.S. coinage. A coin that represents such a transition, especially one with dramatic errors, becomes more than just a mistake, it becomes a story. Collectors love stories. They want to own a piece of history, and a coin that marks a change in design, minted during a transitional year, and containing multiple errors, could be the ultimate conversation piece. There's also the intrigue of coins that were never meant to exist. Sometimes mint employees intentionally or accidentally create error coins that escape into circulation. These can be controversial and often the subject of legal and ethical debates. But once in the hands of private collectors, and especially once sold at public auction, their legality is typically settled. If a 2010 D penny is discovered to be such a coin, an error that was not caught, not destroyed, and not supposed to leave the mint, it adds another layer of mystique and value. That forbidden or clandestine origin makes the coin more desirable to high-end collectors who value rarity and controversy in equal measure. As we continue to examine the layers of potential that make a coin worth $240 million, we must also consider provenance, the history of ownership. If a rare 2010 D penny is found and then passes through the hands of notable collectors or is featured in museum exhibitions or coin conventions, it gains credibility and press.